Hello and welcome to the Banker's View from Sibos video series, looking at all the hot topics here in Sydney. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Adrian Lovney, who's CEO of NPP Australia. Adrian, thanks so much for joining us today. So the new payments platform was launched in February. What is the status to date?
So we're 6 months after we launched to the public. There are 8 organisations that are connected directly to the new payments platform, and there are another 60 that are connected indirectly. So we're really pleased with the diversity of brands that we've got connected. Most banks chose to launch the product initially to their retail customers, but not always, but most banks launched to their retail customers, and they're now starting to roll out the platform and its capabilities to their business, institutional and corporate customers. So last week we had I think about 50 million accounts in total connected to the NPP, which is a sizable number in terms of reach, and we saw about 2.4 million real-time payments go through the platform last week. So we're still in early days. The volume that we're seeing is still largely person-to-person volume, but we're certainly really pleased with the rollout that we've seen so far. Our current focus from here is about really starting to drive the use of the platform for business-to-business purposes. So the kinds of work that we're doing are working with the ecosystem to define the relevant ISO standards that might be used for high volume payments. So for example, in pension payments or superannuation payments and payroll payments. In other areas, there might be a natural body like the Australian Stock Exchange that is in a position to drive how the ecosystem uses messages that are relevant to that industry. So we're seeing a range of different approaches. And the last thing that we did last week was we really want to provoke and promote access to the NPP to a range of fintechs. So we launched an API framework, an NPP API framework, which will really provide a level of consistency and interoperability between the different APIs that are offered by the banks. And we also launched in conjunction with Swift last week a sandbox hosted in the cloud, so that fintechs who are interested in playing around with the APIs can get access to those and see how they work while they negotiate access.
And what is the state of play with the overlay services that were going to be built on top of the platform?
So we've gone live with the first overlay service, which is called OSCO. We're expecting to see request to pay and payment with document launched as OSCO services over the next 12 months. And so the first overlay service we're seeing is the OSCO service, which is a relatively simple, fast payment made through a banking app with up to 280 characters of unstructured text. And our experience is that many of the fintechs that we speak to can pick up that product and use it for many of the things that they want to achieve. So that might be, on forwarding an international payment that might be made through GPI, and that might be picked up and then put through the domestic infrastructure as a fast payment, or it might be used for things like bill payments or invoicing. And we saw a really interesting product launched the other day with a car buying service. So a big car sales platform has a service where you can buy and sell second-hand cars, and the funds are held in escrow until the sale is complete and the registration is transferred, and then the payment is released to the seller of the car, and that previously happened over the batch system, and that now happens instantly in real time. So we're really seeing a lot of use of that initial overlay services for a lot of different use cases. In terms of other organisations that want to modify the payment message more extensively to use it for an industry vertical, as I said, we're working to develop those standards in, say, superannuation and payroll and electronic invoicing. And I'd also think that we'll see, quite quickly, services launched for the insurance industry, for example.
And you talked a little bit about APIs, and I know Australia is moving to open banking and open APIs. What kind of opportunities and maybe challenges do you think that opens up within the payments area?
As a real-time payments infrastructure that connects a range of different counterparties, we're certainly thinking about how open banking is likely to evolve in Australia and how we can play our part. So if you think about what we've built a system that connects a large number of banks and a large number increasingly of third parties and fintechs. And as the ecosystem continues to open up, particularly as we make available payment initiation messages next year, we see that in an open banking environment, lots of payment initiation messages are going to be generated by outside organisations and fed to and sent to account holders. They might come from accounting software organisations, or they might be generated by objects in a Internet of Things type environment, by meters or by toll gates, those kinds of things. So the real challenge, I think, in open banking is how banks can open up that ecosystem, but also allow account holders to remain in control of their funds. And we think that by developing a central mandate service and a consent service that can hold account level mandates within the NPP, we can support the extension of payment services to a wide range of outside organisations through APIs, but also allowing banks and their customers to remain control of who's authorised to operate under their account. So it's a little bit similar to a SEPA a debit, but with a bit of an open banking twist.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your insights, Adrian.
Thank you.